Welcome back, trainers. Today we have our fourth and final figure from Series 4 of Pokemon Selected Trainer Team Series. This is Samurott. As you know, I have already reviewed Typhlosion and Dragapult, and of course Charizard. So I'm excited to crack this open and show you all the details. Before we get started, I want to share with you something special that happened. So the team at Jazwares flew me out to LA. I was joined by Real Breaking Nate and Super Duper Danny, and we filmed a Target commercial based around these figures and the Trainer Team Series. It was the coolest thing. I've never shot a commercial before or anything like that. We got to see the figures firsthand, play with them, articulate them, and then honestly we just got to sit around like a round table, talk about the line, like our collecting journey, and just really get nerdy with Pokemon. And I'm super grateful to be a part of that. So this line and these figures mean a little bit more to me because I had a little bit of a hand in showcasing them out to the world. So I'll put a link in the description below where you can watch that full video. Alright y'all, this is the fourth and final figure from Series 4, the Trainer Team Series, which is a Target exclusive. Price point $19.99. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram, then you know that Series 5 was announced. So right after this wave, we are getting Charizard, Mewtwo, Suicune, and Tyranitar. And I know some of you are thinking, why is Charizard included again in Series 5? Well, the answer is simple. Charizard is ever popular, and this gives new fans a chance to get this figure without having to pay like scalper prices and things like that. Here is the barcode and the Target DPCI to help you track this down in store, and they're actually hitting stores pretty heavily, so you really shouldn't have too hard of a time finding this. Here is Samurott out of the packaging. It does come with that multi-articulated stance. We'll just place that back there. Overall, there's a lot of points of articulation. It is the second figure to come with an accessory, so that's pretty cool. We'll go over all those details. The sculpting and the paint applications look true to what we see within that animated series, and I believe the scale does also. So I think if you compare this to a 1/12 scale, this should be accurate to what the Pokemon is in real life. I do think it's cool that we are getting Samurott and Typhlosion. You know, that's very Legends Arceus vibe. All we need is Decidueye to really complete that trio. Here's a close-up of the sculpting and the paint applications. You can see the paint details on the eyes look great. They are also symmetrical, which looks awesome. So now, if we're looking at height, Pokédex has Samurott ringing in at 4 feet 11 inches, so just under 5 feet. Now, when I do the measuring tape, with a neutral position, Samurott is just at 5 inches, a little bit more than that if we're counting these little horns there. So that's pretty in scale with how it's supposed to look in real life. Even though these figures are not supposed to be in scale with each other, it is nice to have a few figures that can match up with our 1/12 scales. As far as the accessories go, Samurott does come with its sword. We have a longer version and then 2 smaller ones that fit in the sheaths on the sides of the arms. And this is great because it's exactly what we see within the animated series. Samurott pulls these out of its little sheath right there on the arms and then uses it in battle. There's also these pegs here at the base of the sword, and they can be placed on the bottom of Samurott's feet. So you can see there's a little pinhole there, and they pop right on in. Let's move into articulation. So starting at the tail, we have a hinge joint there, so we can move the tail upwards and then also downwards. There's some great sculpting to that as well. At the rear legs, it looks like we have a hinge joint as well as a swivel, so we have a great amount of range of motion. Yeah, it looks like a swivel as opposed to a ball and socket, so we can bring it inwards and outwards. We can also rotate it all the way around. This next segment, it looks like it's on a swivel joint, so you can turn it around. It looks like it's super stiff. I was worried that I was going to break it, but it looks like you can do it. And then at the feet, it looks like we also have a hinge and swivel, so that's great. They added a lot of articulation to these legs, so we can take that toe, spin it all the way around. Moving up a little bit to the torso, it feels like there's a ball joint there, so I can take it, move it upwards and downwards. I can't spin it all the way around, but that's okay. I really don't have any use for that. It does seem like this lower part of the torso does get in the way if you did try to spin it around, but that's okay. And then on the bottom of the torso is the pinhole for the stand, which pretty self-explanatory, just pop it right on in, and you honestly don't need the stand to have Samurott standing in a neutral pose, but if you wanted to do like a really cool pose or like action shots where it's holding like the sword, then you would probably need the stand. At the front of the legs, they should have pretty much the same range of motion that the hind ones do, maybe just a tad bit more here and there, but it does appear that we have a hinge and swivel, so we take the arms, bring them out all the way, good 90 degrees there, even a little bit higher than that. We can bring them on in, we can bring them backwards and also forwards. There's also that hinge joint on the front as well as the back, so we can take them and move them forwards and backwards. Which this is great because we definitely need this if we're going to use these swords. And there's also that swivel there. Moving on down to the hand, there is the same treatment as the toes. A hinge and swivel. Take them, spin them around, same exact thing, and you see those little pinholes there. And then here at the arm, there is these little sheaths, and the smaller swords will fit in there nice and snug. And finally, at the head, we have a joint here at the base of the neck, as well as the base of the head, so we can have Samurott looking downwards, I would say about that far, and then looking upwards, hyperextension about that high. There doesn't seem to be a swivel at the base of the neck. I mean, there's a little movement there, not a whole lot, but there is a swivel at the base of the head, so you can practically spin it all the way around. I mean, you have a great amount of movement, so having the hinge and the swivel there is great because that's where you can get all that character and extra posability. I really enjoy the sculpting to this. I think they captured the true essence of Samurott. It really is a superior figure. Here I'd like to show you some poses of what Samurott can do, especially with what we've seen in the animated series. So this is more of that swimming look where Samurott is battling Mantine. We can almost get it to swim totally flat. I mean, this is pretty impressive, all things considered. This is some great posability. And then here I took out the little swords to show that it's like gearing up for an attack. And this would be the actual attack or gearing up to strike. Both swords are out, ready to land that hit. And of course, we're going to throw that long sword on there. And that looks really cool. So again, this is a swimming, diving, attack type of pose. And I definitely would not want to be on the business end of that. Here's more of a standing pose with the big sword. So because of the weight of this, it's going to put a little more pressure on the joints. So it makes it a little bit harder for him to stand. I mean, you can do it here and there, but it's going to be a lot more comfortable when you use the stand. And here we have another look and display. What's really cool is because you have all those joints, I mean, you can just take this arm and pose it all different ways. And you can really give this figure a lot of character. Alright friends, that's going to wrap up this review and unboxing of Series 4, the Trainer Team Series Samurott figure by Jazwares. The price point is $19.99, and right there, in and out of itself, is a big win. That is a very affordable price point for all of that figure that you're getting. The sculpting and the paint applications look great. It is essentially in scale with our 1/12 figures, so I know a lot of people will be happy about that. It is the second figure that comes with accessories, and they're utilized really well. You may have some limitations holding the bigger sword, but that's where that multi-articulated stand comes into play. So whether you are a Samurott or an Oshawott fan, a toy photographer like myself, or just a casual Pokemon fan, I think this is a great addition to your collection, and you're going to have a lot of fun with it. But that is it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video and hanging out with me. Be sure to find me on Instagram where I do toy photography, toy videos, toy hunts, toy deals, and all things toy related. I posted when this went live on the Target app, and I also post very heavily on my stories when new things are dropping. But if you like this video and you want to see more of it, be sure to like and subscribe. As always, it is free, and we will see y'all in the next video.